I want to introduce our viewers to this, if I can say, young man, with an accent I can't quite pin down. Where are you from, Ben M. Freeman?
So thank you so much for having me, Brad.
Of course.
I'm from Glasgow in Scotland. So I'm one of not very many Scottish Jews. There was about 5,000 Jews in Scotland when I was there growing up. And it was a very small but very strong Jewish community. So very actively Zionist. Jewish action, Jewish pride, Jewish joy was really central to our lives. But I think it's an example of the idea that when it's slightly harder to be Jewish, we are more committed to
100%. 100%. And I want to speak with you about your journey to Jewish pride, which took a detour through your journey as a proud member of the LGBTQ plus community.
Yes.
Fascinating. Explain.
So I will say that I was always raised as a proud Jew, but I never really considered it. It was just a huge part of my life. But I really began to consider my identity kind of in a wider sense when I was about 12 or 13 and I realized that I was gay. Or rather, I struggled with the realization that I was gay, and I was filled with huge amounts of self-loathing. I did not want to be gay. I was born during the AIDS epidemic, and there was a commercial on British TV that was a tombstone that had the letters AIDS on it, the word AIDS. And I must have been 3 or 4 when I saw that, and I still remember it. So that was the kind of context in which I grew up as a gay man, and I really rejected it. I didn't want to be gay, and I was filled with huge amounts of self-loathing. But then when I was about 16 or 17, I had a really profound realization. And it was I had done nothing wrong.
Right.
And that realization led me on a long path. It wasn't short. It was a long path to LGBTQ plus pride. And then that inspired my thinking on the Jewish community. You know, I'm a British Jew. I was in Hong Kong, but fighting Jeremy Corbyn. And he mobilized, the left in Britain against the Jews. And I took part in that fight. And it was really amazing to see the British Jewish community rise up. And that was, a real example of pride.
In America, you'll hear people say, well, yeah, I'm Jewish, but I'm not religious. I'm cultural, I'm secular. You hear secular a lot in Israel. Help me out, Ben M. Freeman. Is Judaism a culture, an ethnicity, a religion? Help me.
It's quite a complicated thing, and I would say it's not just any of those things, but it is also at the same time those things. The word I use to describe Judaism and Jewishness is a civilization. And as part of that, we have culture, we have texts, we have religion, we have ethnicity, we have ancestry. There's so many different components. But I think that there is a danger in describing Jewishness and Judaism as just religions or just culture, because it's something deeper. And this is the reality about Jewish pride. We are part of something really wonderful and special.
Look, I admit, I'm incredibly proud to be Jewish. This is my professional life. And yet I can't lie, there is this kind of internalized
anti-Jewishness.
Help.
Yeah, I think that, you hit the nail on the head. It exists in the gay community, it exists in the black community, it exists in a myriad of different communities, and it exists in our community. Why? Because we're a minoritized community in the diaspora. There might be 7 million Jews in the United States. There's still like 350 million people overall, right? We're a tiny minority here, 2%. And because of that power dynamic, we are often told what we are. And I don't want to spend my time, and not every Jew agrees with me, but I personally don't want to spend my time fighting to be in spaces that have made it clear that I'm not welcome if I live my truth as a Jewish person.
What would you recommend to someone like me, our viewers, who there's definitely pride there, but there's still like this underlying, fear / shame /
discomfort. I would say that the first thing to do is recognizing there's a problem. And I think you're very brave and courageous for talking about this, because a lot of people don't want to. They want to say, no, I'm a proud Jew, this doesn't affect me. You can be a proud Jew and, as you've experienced, and as I experienced, still suffer from this phenomenon. What I would say is we need to be introspective, but introspective without shame. And like that realization I had when I was 16 or 17, that I had done nothing wrong, it's the same realization for us. We've done nothing wrong. This is not about our success. This is not about us speaking up too loudly against those who hate us. This is about the non-Jewish world's problem with us. That's their problem. And I really think that we have to free ourselves of the idea that we caused this. So when we understand that we may feel shame in certain instances, that's not our fault. That is because we live in a world which has taught us to feel shame.
And I urge you to consider reading both of Ben's books, Jewish Pride, Rebuilding a People, and Reclaiming Our Story, The Pursuit of Jewish Pride.